INFJ, you've always led with your heart. You've always given more than you've received, poured into others until your soul was dry, and assumed that if you loved harder, deeper, softer, people would eventually see you, honor you, and protect you. But time after time, you've been left wondering why the people you hold space for don't hold space for you. Why your loyalty is met with indifference. Why your compassion is taken as a given, not as a gift. And deep down, you've asked yourself a question you're afraid to say out loud. Am I being too much, or not enough? But INFJ, what if the answer isn't to shrink yourself, or to give less of your soul, but to give it differently? What if your power isn't in overextending, but in matching energy? Today, we explore the shift that will change everything. The moment you stop overgiving and start aligning. The moment you stop explaining and start observing. The moment you stop losing yourself and start matching their energy. 1. Why INFJs give too much. INFJ, you weren't born a people pleaser. You became one. Slowly. Quietly. In the moments when your emotional truth was ignored. When your needs were met with silence. When your depth scared people away. When your tears made others uncomfortable. You learned that love was something you earned. That worth was something you proved. And that being too emotional made you difficult. So you adjusted. You gave more. You dimmed your light. You made yourself small enough to fit inside the comfort zones of those who couldn't hold you. And yet, no matter how much you gave, it was never enough. You were the emotional glue, the healer, the forgiver, the intuitive guide, and people kept expecting you to show up, even as they disappeared. You believed that love meant staying, even when it hurt. You believed that loyalty meant losing sleep for someone who wouldn't lose a minute for you. You gave. And gave. And gave. Until the resentment whispered, "What about me?" 2. Matching energy isn't petty, it's protective. Let's break a myth right now. Matching energy isn't cold. It's clarity. It's not revenge. It's resonance. INFJ, you've been trained to believe that pulling back is passive-aggressive. That not texting first makes you bitter. That mirroring effort is playing games. But let me tell you this, protecting your peace is not pettiness. It's spiritual hygiene. When you match someone's energy, you stop guessing. You stop chasing. You stop betraying your own emotional bandwidth to accommodate someone else's inconsistency. You don't ghost. You don't manipulate. You don't punish. You simply mirror. You reflect. You respond, without overreaching. And in that space, you let people reveal who they are. You no longer force conversations. You no longer justify silences. You no longer decode one-word replies. You simply meet them where they are. And if where they are isn't where your soul feels safe, you let go. 3. The INFJ pain of unreciprocated depth. INFJs don't love halfway. You love with your full nervous system. You fall into souls. You bond through energy. You see potential and build futures in your head. You write poems out of glances and songs out of silences. And often, you do all of this with someone who was never truly there. INFJ, your biggest heartbreak has never been the breakup. It was the moment you realized someone never met you in the first place. You saw their wounds. You tried to love them through their shadows. You tried to be enough light for two. But depth without reciprocity isn't intimacy. It's isolation. You gave them your emotional blueprint, and they didn't even read it. They admired the warmth of your soul but never offered you shelter. And the moment you stop blaming yourself for their limitations, you reclaim your depth. You stop offering it where it's not honored. And you begin matching energy, not to disconnect, but to finally connect with yourself. 4. How to match energy without losing yourself. So how do you, as an INFJ, match energy without hardening your heart? Without becoming someone you're not? Without sacrificing your integrity for emotional survival? You don't shut down. You slow down. Here's what that looks like. Observe before offering. Before you pour, pause. Notice how they respond to your presence. Are they consistent? Are they emotionally available? Do they reciprocate effort? Mirror intention, not projection. If they initiate connection, meet them there. If they pull away, let them go. Don't chase clarity. Trust what their energy reveals. Anchor in your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. If you're overthinking, it's because they're under-communicating. Match consistency, not chaos. Match actions, not apologies. Energy, not words. And most importantly, stop building homes in people who leave the doors open for ghosts. 5. What happens when INFJs start matching energy? The first thing that happens when you match energy? Silence. Distance. Stillness. The people who thrived on your over-giving will disappear. The ones who loved your light but never offered any will fall away. At first, it feels like loss. But it's actually cleansing. You'll start to hear your own voice again. You'll stop performing emotional CPR on one-sided connections. You'll begin to see who's real, and who was just enjoying the way you made them feel. And in that space of energetic alignment, you'll start to attract people who meet you halfway. People who text back. People who don't make you question your worth. You'll finally stop confusing emotional labor with love. And you'll start feeling peace where you used to feel panic. 6. INFJs and the fear of being too much. INFJ, you've been told your entire life you're too much. Too sensitive. Too deep. Too serious. Too intense. And so you edited yourself. You diluted your truth. You dimmed your light so others could shine. But here's the truth. Your too muchness isn't the problem. Their lack of depth is. Matching energy helps you filter faster. You stop handing your soul to people who only wanted entertainment. You stop decoding lukewarm affection. You stop shrinking in spaces that were never made for your expansion. You weren't too much. You were just in the wrong room. Now, you're building your own room. 7. The INFJ power in silence. Let's talk about the silence you used to fear. It's no longer empty. It's sacred. When you match energy, silence becomes your compass. You stop filling gaps with assumptions. You stop begging for clarity. You stop reaching into voids. Now, you let people come to you. And if they don't, you let them stay gone. Because your peace is louder than their inconsistency. Your worth is clearer than their confusion. And your silence? It's not absence. It's alignment. 8. INFJs WHO match energy still love deeply. INFJs, listen closely. Matching energy doesn't mean you stop loving deeply. It means you finally protect the way you love. You still love fully. You still feel everything. You still believe in soul connections. But now, you give to those who give. You open to those who knock. You invest in those who invest. You stop writing novels to people who skim. You stop breaking your heart to build someone else's self-esteem. You stop waiting for someone to become what they promised. Now, you love with discernment. You speak with clarity. You listened to energy, not excuses. Because your love was never the problem. You were just giving it to people still learning how to receive. INFJ, your energy is a sanctuary. Your presence is medicine. Your silence is sacred. And your love, it is alchemy. Match their energy, not to mirror their wounds, but to honor your wisdom. Give where you are given to. Speak where you are heard. Stay soft, but stay sovereign. INFJ, you were never too much. You were simply in places that didn't know how to hold you. Now, you hold yourself. If this resonated with your INFJ soul, drop a comment. Tell us what you're no longer tolerating. Share the name of the peace you've reclaimed. Subscribe for more INFJ truths, identity healing, and soul-aligned power. Because this time, you're not losing yourself to love. You're learning how to match it.